भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms, thou art the origin and goal of all, thou art the self of all, thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Dear friends, tomorrow is the birthday of Shankaracharya, one of the greatest teachers of Vedanta. Therefore we shall have a hymn, very popular hymn composed by Shankaracharya. Abhijit will lead. You can all join in singing. And the tune is very simple, so you can easily pick it up.
मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कारचित्तानि नाहम् न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायु चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न च प्राणसंगो न देवै च वायु न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोश न वाक्पाणिपादो न चोपस्थपायु चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागो न मे लोभमोहो मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभाव न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्ष चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखम् न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञा अहं भोजनन्नैव भोज्यन्न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मृत्युर्न शङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव नेनैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपः विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् न च सङ्गतन्नैव मुक्तिर्न मेय चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्
Dear friends, many times Vedanta is called Atma Vidya, means investigation into the true nature of who am I. And the conclusion is very interesting, that yes, you are divine, you are God, you are Brahman. So, obviously this conclusion is reached in Upanishads. You find it like in this Chandogya Upanishad, 6th chapter. It begins with a nice story. A young boy about 12 years old and was told to go and learn with the teachers. And so that boy goes to whatever a seminary or of that type, and then comes back after 12 years, having studied so many things, and then all that study had gone into his head, in a wrong way. He had become very egotistic, and when he comes back by his behavior, it is when one gets fired by that egotistic feelings, it shows in the behavior. You do not pay proper respect to people. You do not understand what the others are saying. You think that in every respect you alone are the right, you alone are the authority. When the father sees that, he sees that he didn't get the right education. So he asks him some questions. I don't want to get into them, but then what happened was, this boy realized that, well, I really haven't learned these things. But then, even then he tried to deflect it on his teachers, that maybe my teachers didn't know that and therefore I didn't learn it. So he asks his father, can you teach me? And father said, sure, yeah, let us study it. And there you hear this verse. This happens in the 6th volume of Chandogya Upanishad, one of the bigger Upanishads. So there he tells him that, look, that all-pervading reality, and that is, you can analyze it to the smallest particle, atom. So the smallest particle, ya esho anima, etad atmyam, idam sarvam, tat satyam, sa atma, tattvamasi Shvetaketu. That Shvetaketu was the name of that young boy. And he is told that all this that you see, if you see its finest particle, and see that this everything is just an expression of you. It is all really what you are. All that you see, all that you experience is actually you. It is the famous analogy given is in that of dream, that what you experience in dream, who is that? It is you alone. You were riding on an elephant while you were sleeping in the room. No elephant could enter there. You realized that there wasn't any elephant, and all the different places that you visited riding on that elephant, all that was your mind just expressing itself. Now, this is the method of learning. You take an example and then apply that example in the proper context to other things. So just as that was all your mind, this also what you see is just the mind, nothing more than that. Because shut the mind and it goes off. And that is what we see, that all these lights that you see, it is all the expression of electricity. Because switch off the electricity and it is gone. Switch on the power, it again comes back. So it is an expression of electricity. So switch the mind off and all this world vanishes from your awareness. So it is said that thus, if you go deep, even if you go in the that is why it is said, analyze it to the finest particle, not only the physical finest particle, but the psychological finest particle also. This Western psychology hasn't reached so far, that your psyche is also actually can be divided into smallest particles. Psychological atom, think about it. Not this material atom, but the atom of the mind. That also, when you say that everything is just you, Atmyam, it is you alone are there, etat sarvam Atmyam. All this is you appearing in various different ways. And that is that which exists. Idam sarvam, whatever you see is that, and that thou art. Sa atma, that is, you are that. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, tattvamasi, tattvam asi. So, thou art that. That is how in English this a statement is made, and this statement has become, very popular with all the students, so-called, of Vedanta. So-called means they read some books on Vedanta and think that they have understood. All that is to be studied is that I am God. And that is what Upanishads told, that I am God. I am Brahman. It is said in the Upanishad that is same as thou. And one of the great contributions of Shankaracharya actually is where you can see the whole philosophical world has been invaded by his thought, changed by his thought. It is, he lived only 32 years, but in 32 years the tremendous work he has done is unparalleled. It is, you can see that after his advent, what gets called popularly as Hinduism, or what he calls as Sanatana Dharma, or the Dharma of the Vedas, that got a tremendous logical and spiritual boost. The purpose of all that has been presented in his life and his teachings in such a powerful way that everything he tried to explain very rationally, but without getting confined to rationality. One has to understand the distinction between the two, that you use reason as the tool, but don't get limited by that tool. It is, you use a screwdriver, but then you don't get limited by a screwdriver. You can use other tool, keep down the screwdriver, and then pick up, say, a hammer. So, depending on the needs, you pick up the tool. So, reason is a tool. So, he used that tool, but all the conclusions were, or all the teachings were based on his experience of the divinity. It is a matter that has to be experienced. That is the basis of his teachings, that your experience today, being full of contradictions, you are suffering. So it is to be replaced by the experience of the truth. And then you can see it becomes all different. You can then see that the bliss that you are seeking. You can see then, you can experience then the freedom that you are looking for. You can then get the peace that you are striving at. So, it is, the Upanishads have this topic. And in this particular story, it is told, well, thou art that to this seeker of truth. Thou art that. Now the student says, how can that be? I am a little somebody, my, existence is so tiny, I was born and within a few years that is over. And I have such little power, I cannot even control my body and mind. And how can that be same as the all-pervading, omnipotent, omniscient God? How can that be? I don't get it. It is a completely untrue statement. How can you say that I am God? And so, but he is respectful of this, of the teacher. So he says, Please explain it to me again. So again and again in this chapter, through various analogies, the truth is emphasized. The student is self-introspecting, correcting the understanding. That is how the meaning, that word, we use it, information, means it is inner formation. Your mind needs to undergo the proper shifting, proper change to match it with truth. It is, that is the education, that you don't understand things, but then while getting educated, you learn, and that changes your mind. And thus, at one point, you understand it, you get it. Means the truth and that understanding, they match with each other. So this is how the process is. So here also the same thing, that understand, go deeper, learn to change your present understanding. If somebody is just rooted in this ego, that I know everything, then that ego will prevent all the inner formation, the new learning gets prevented by this stubborn, unyielding ego. So this boy had accepted that he doesn't know everything, he needs to learn, and so is now ready to shift his way, shift his understanding. So thus he comes gradually to understand this truth through penetratingly experiencing things at various advancing levels. So it is told, this statement is repeated 9 times, and after the 9 times when it is told, then the student says, yes, now I got it. Student doesn't say, the Upanishad says, yes, now the student got it. So it is, this is analyzed here, what is meant by that. And Shankaracharya in the commentary has expressed that very beautifully while analyzing these different examples, that one very nice example there is that, like the bees, they procure honey from various different trees. Like there are the tree of peach, tree of apple, and so many other trees that they move around, pick the honey from various trees, and the flowers there, and then collect it together. It now all gets mixed. Now, in that mixed honey, you cannot separate that this is the honey of peach, and this is the honey of apple, this is the honey of orange, this is the honey of rose, this is the honey of lily. You cannot differentiate that now. So, similarly, just see, take out the self, take out the I. Imagine, this is a very good exercise, and one should do it as meditation. That see the essence that you are. Are you body? You will clearly see that you are not body. We have discussed this thing in classes many times. I won't take your precious time for that again. It is very easy to see that I am not this changing heap of flesh, blood, bones, and so forth. I am not that. I am not the subtle body, that is the thoughts, the emotions, and so forth. So when you abstract this, then what remains? Like the bee picks the honey from the flowers. It doesn't hurt those, doesn't bother about the petals and the stems and other things. Of course, it picks up pollen also, that it is, but it is the honey, the essence that is we are looking at. So other things are separated. So what am I? Leave out all the changing aspects and pick the unchanging aspect. And we come to an astounding, in a way, not at all intuited conclusion that the I here and I in Ray sitting there, or in Yona sitting in the back, or the Julia sitting there, I is not different at all. The bodies are different. But the I in all these is same. It is called this because that is where you have found it. But the essence in everyone is the same. That is the self. Now the self becomes all pervading. It is in everyone, even in every cell of the body, even in every particle of what you call matter. The same self is. And thus you come to see this great truth by what? By purification of our understanding of these words. The words have to be understood correctly. There is the literal meaning of the words, and there is the indicated or implied meaning. The two are again different. Implied meaning and the indicated meaning by those words. So the word has some word meaning, but we don't take that meaning. Like when you are told that Vedanta society is on Angel Street, and if Analysia asks this question, hey, then how will the traffic pass through the street if the Vedanta society is on the street? No, on the street, don't take it literally. It means that it is on the side there. You can reach it by going on Angel Street. That is the meaning. On the street is not to be taken literally there. Nobody takes it literally. But if you take literally, then that will be a big problem. So every sentence, every statement, you understand it, that what is hinted there, and take that meaning by properly purifying the word. And there are ways of purification. This Shankaracharya's another great, highly, praised and studied treatise, Viveka Chudamani, crest jewel of discernment. So, crest jewel of discernment. Discern, use your intellect and see what is what. And that is what is the purpose of this our faculty of discernment. Don't get confused. So, when it is said that that divine Tat, the word Sanskrit word means that. Literal meaning is that. And the word that is used to indicate something that is farther, away from you. When something is to be indicated close to you, one says this, that. So that God, which is all pervading, but since you do not see that, you think that it is God is far away, Therefore, many show to the skies God, as if God is sitting somewhere in the sky. Means far away from me. The idea is I don't understand it, I don't see God. It's somewhere far away. So, that is the idea in using the word that. That, and the other word is thou, you, which is closest to me, that my real nature, what I am, what is closer to me than myself? So, the closest and the farthest. Now, it is said the two are one. There is no difference between them. Obviously, there is so much difference. That is all pervading everywhere and all powerful, all knowing, whereas I am only in a small space. I am not powerful at all. My power is very little, and then my knowledge is also very little. How can I be that? So the two words, the sages have said that in the meaning has to be extracted by purification of these two words. In Sanskrit it is called, therefore, tattvam padartha shodhanam. The meaning of these two words, tat and tvam, that and thou, has to be keenly researched into, looked into, and purified by all the impurities that our mind puts into it. The idea is to make it clean of all its incidental strappings, what is called upadhi in Sanskrit. Sometimes it is translated as limiting adjuncts. Means they are not your nature. It is like, say, I see somebody with, say, black attire today. Next day that person will come in white attire. Are the persons different? Only the attire is different, really. So I abstract the attire and look at the essential person. All the things which can be changed are removed because that is not the real person. There is an incident that somebody committed a murder, and committed in a very clever way so that it will be impossible to find this criminal. He was a man completely dressed himself as a woman while committing the murder. And so it looked as if this woman committed. Deliberately he put on a blonde wig, so that to put the police on a false track. So, and he did all those things. He came there in a car stolen by one woman, stolen from one woman. So that the car, and that made it obvious that people will see that this fellow came in this car. And so the police were looking for a woman who is blonde, and this we found the number plate, and so they found that woman. She said, well, no, my car was stolen, not me. Now where to find now this person? Now by that time this person had grown a big beard, this, and changed completely, the appearance was changed. But then there are certain unchangeable features. So he was ultimately caught with some circumstantial evidence, and thus, now you are that. the one who committed the murder. You are that same fellow. So, how did they decide that the same fellow? Remove the strappings which are changeable. Anybody can change that appearance. With plastic surgery, you can change the appearance more. But then, with all this, they identified that fellow. You are that. You can't deceive us all the time, because we abstracted all the changes you made in the appearance and thus caught you. Exactly the same technique that remove the appearance, remove the clothings. On our person we have actually, on our self, it is said we have 5 sheets. We have put on 5 sheets. They being sheets, they are subject to change. What is the first sheet? It is called, this is the gross body. That is the first sheet. It is called the food sheet, because that is actually the processed food, isn't it? What I call this body is all the things that I eat. They get properly that processed in the system, and then I call that as body. So this is the sheet that is manufactured by food. Like the coat somebody is wearing is a woolen coat, means what? Made of wool. Now this is, the body is a coat made of food. So as the food is, so the body is. So it is made of food. Then there is the inner, that which the various forces that move the body. So that is called the energy sheath. That is also a sheath. Then there is the sheath of the various emotions and so forth. That is called the mental sheath. And then there is this sheath of our discerning faculty. That is called the intellectual sheath. And then there is the, still inside, there is the innermost garment of this, our true self. What is it? It is the bliss sheath, this pleasant sensation that one feels while in the deep sleep, that you express it only after you wake up. It is that. So, the deep sleep, just to give an example, where do you feel this completely tensionless happiness without any contact with any object? That is the bliss sheath. Now, these are all changeable things. They are not you. Now, when you remove these sheets, these changeable things, then the meaning comes out. Who am I? And you see that thus I am beyond any of these limitations of body. I am not tied to a particular set of clothing. In the month of December, January, you probably would be coming outside, I am sure, with many layers of thick woolen clothing. But when you come to warmer weather, you see very thin, light clothes you put on, because that is changeable something. When you go to, play tennis, our Prithvish goes to play tennis, then he doesn't put on this all the suit and tie and everything. That would be terrible, So when you go to have a swim, you put another attire suitable for that. So what I mean is the attire is changeable. it changes. You cannot identify a person just by the attire. So, similarly, you cannot really identify a person by body or mind or ego or any of these things, because they are all changeable. So Shankaracharya says, when you do this analysis, purify the meaning of those words, then you see the identity between the all-pervading divine and you. The difference is only in the limiting adjuncts or the strappings that you put on. So that is, apart from that, actually there is no difference. If I ask Juhi, can you give me $1? And she says, well, I have 4 quarters. 4 quarters are the same as dollar? What do you say, Charlie? 4 quarters are the same as dollar?
They're worth the same.
Exactly, they are not same. The bill is one, these coins, 4 coins, so they are not same in number. In weight, it will be much more difference. That small paper will not weigh much. The 4 coins of the quarters will weigh much more. Then the other differences are there, that these 4 coins will make a jingling noise in your pocket, that a dollar bill will not make any noise. All this. Other differences also are there. It used to be so that, I don't know, these days probably they have changed, that at various where you have the parking stations, so you have to pay in those quarters. You have to go on putting quarters. So it is, okay, I am going to stay for 1 hour, so they put 4 quarters or 5 quarters. And then if the 1 hour is about to be over, they would go again out and put a couple of more such quarters. So now only quarters will be taken. You cannot put a dollar bill there. There is no such arrangement. You have to, therefore, they are not really same from that point of view. But as our brilliant Charlie said, that it is worth, means when you go to buy something, then their worth is same. That it is what you can buy for $1, you can buy for 4 quarters, the worth is same. So you removed, what you did? You removed the extraneous changeable strappings, the dollar worth. It could be 1 bill, or it could be 4 quarters, or anything like that. So the worth. So here find out the worth. Shankaracharya says that, look, here it comes very from the verse number 241 till 247. 249. There is 9 verses in this Viveka Chudamani, and they describe this topic of how you have to go to see the proper meaning. It is said that Aikyam tayor lakshitayor na vachayo, that what inconsistency do you speak of? Because you will say, no, how I can be God? It is inconsistent. Not only that, it is terrible, it is blasphemous to say I am identical with God. How do you say that? And then Shankaracharya says that what inconsistency do you speak of? That is like a great mountain, and thou like an atom. If compared, one is like a glowworm, the other is like the sun. Thou is so finite and what you call that is infinite. How can there be oneness in them? Then Shankaracharya says in the next verse, Tayor virodho ayam upadhi kalpito na vastavah kaschid upadhireshah. That though they are of different natures, yet in their proper essence, they are equal. What difference you see is only in the qualifications, the upadhi, the strappings, that's all. It is the clothings with which you decorate them, that is the only difference. Otherwise, like that murderer was caught and said, "Why, you are the same person." Here that in the Vedanta old text they say, as it is mentioned here, Soyam Devadatta, that you are that very Devadatta is this, Devadatta is name, that it is that Devadatta is this. That what is that now? It is long time back, it looked different, and now looks different. I met a friend a few years ago in Alaska. We were meeting after 52 years, imagine, We were students together when we were in the 6th and 7th grade. For 2 years we studied together. And after that, 7th grade, till now we have never met. But then I knew him, and then he was teaching in Alaska, he's a professor there. So, when we met, we said, "Yeah, you are that." Now, what we are referring to? The appearance has undergone complete transformation. Even the thought world has completely changed. So what is same? Still something unchanging is there. That is being referred to as that which did not change. And that is the basis on which we recognize really, yes, you are that. So, you are that. This is therefore termed in the Tantra scriptures, like Kashmiri Shaivism and all, that Pratyabhijna means recognition. That you recognize that that is that by removing the strappings. That incidental strappings, the upadhis, are abstracted. And then you see the meaning, yeah, correct, exactly. I am divine. I am divine. You realize this by just this simple exercise of removing the strappings. Like you imagine, this is a very good meditation. Like you see how freedom you feel. Like in the dead of the winter, the temperatures are touching 0, and then you have naturally gone out with so many layers after layers of clothing, and now you came back and you now want to take a shower. So you started removing layers after layers of these clothes. So now think, that you have to remove layers of the clothing that we have put on, starting from the body. Well, remove the body, just as you remove the coat, you say unbutton or unzip the coat and the jacket and then hang it there. So, do this exercise. Take the body out and hang it. You can use it when you want to use it, but how you can take it out? Because you are not that, you should be able to take it out, isn't it? If you are that, then you will not be able to take it off. But if you are not that, you will be able to take it out and see how much freedom you feel. You can really experience this. I am not body. Means what? Means I was never born. I have no particular age. I am not going to die. The body is born. The body grows. The body gets old. Body dies. I don't die at all. I have no gender. It is limited only to body. See how much freedom you already feel. I am not rich or poor or anything. No, I am not a moneyed person or one without money, because that is all to the body. It is, you become so free. It is, this is an experience, you know. It is because of body one is so constrained that I am, fat, or I am, very skinny. Well, that is not my qualities. It is the body that is stout or thin, not me. It is the age, I am young or old. You don't worry about it. Otherwise, so much of the effort is put in to just worrying about these things. I am not that. It is, see how much freedom you get. Then you are not your thoughts and your mind. You go, remove that clothing or that clothing also. Thus you go beyond time and space, because the time and space are generated by your mind. It is just as it is very similar, if that woolen clothing is there, then you see some kind of furry particles, they start flying around from it. They are generated by that wool. So similarly, time and space are generated by the mind. They don't have any existence beyond that. So you go beyond this perception of time and space. And you are now everywhere, because you are beyond time, space. And there is no limitation that here, there, or not there. It is all gone for you. And no limitation of time also. You are existing all the time. You become completely free by this investigation. So, etau upadhi parajivayostayoho samyak nirasen na paro na jivaha Rajyam narendrasya bhatasya khetaka tayor apohe na bhato na raja. Says, look, the upadhis, these limiting adjuncts alone create the distinction. Both are just one substance. This substance plus the Maya and Mahata is God, and the same substance plus the 5 sheets is the Jiva. Jiva means the individual soul, what I feel as I. When that self is couched in these 5 limiting sheets, then it gets called as the doer, enjoyer, sufferer, and all that. So, take away the upadhis of both, and what is left is the same thing. It is the value as 4 quarters and $1. The worth is same. So, it is the same man with a shield in hand is a warrior. You have a sword and shield, becomes warrior. And if you take away both the throne and the shield, then he is neither king nor warrior. And the same person may then go to the stove and start cooking. Who was warrior with shield, sword, when starts cooking, is no more warrior, is a cook. So, essential is neither cook nor warrior. These are the limiting adjuncts. So, one has to see this truth that that is how you see in Brahman, in the divine, in this all-pervading divine being, there is no split. There are no two. It is beyond enumeration. So there are no two there. So how do you see that identity of the two, that apparent two? By removing the limiting adjuncts, you see, you experience the identity of the two. And thus it is all identical. So you see, you experience this identity. That is how Sri Ramakrishna always was experiencing this identity. And therefore he couldn't see these distinctions in principle. In the appearance, he could see the distinctions, but he would see the same value, that same worth in everything, that it is all pervaded with God. It is whether you take, when you go to some Starbucks or something like that, they ask you what, I want the coffee. And then they have the small, medium and large cups. So now whatever cup you choose, the same substance is filled in them. Now the same coffee, and the receptacles are different, that's all. So the receptacles, which actually in Starbucks they have existence, but in this investigation, they are just appearances. They are just shapes. They do not have any reality as such. So, if you abstract that which is just an appearance, you come to the non-dual reality. So, it is, so many illustrations have been given here to describe this, that you have to therefore purify the meaning. That is called here the lakshana, means you see what is the intended meaning, what is the meaning that is indicated. It is in Sanskrit there are called that shakha chandra nyaya, means the branch of the tree and the moon. The moon has risen, but a branch of the tree is covering it. And if somebody asks, where is the moon? The person who knows that there is the moon shows to the branch of the tree and tells that, look, the halo, the light behind this branch, that is moon. Now, what is indicated, literally speaking, is only that branch of the tree. But actually, what is told is the moon to be seen behind, transcending the branch. So, one has to transcend like this all different clothings that we have put on and see the real person. And when we see that, we see that everything is divine. Sri Ramakrishna therefore could see everything pulsating with the same presence of the Divine Mother. The Mother, Divine Mother, she is appearing in all these different forms. What a great experience, These truths, they do not come by logic or by ratiocination. In fact, it is told by the scriptures that by that you will never be able to get there. It is in Kathopanishad and other places also you read this, that this cannot be understood through a lot of studies of the books. It is, you will get that is why that boy in the beginning is being told, lot of books have been studied and that makes us egotistic. I understand everything. I have studied this, I have studied that, I can do this, that. Well, no, this cannot be. And other things you may use intellect for, but this is matter of devotionally getting connected to that truth and transcend. Transcendence is a beautiful word. Try to feel this. That try to feel going beyond the body, beyond the mind. Do that. This is matter of practice and meditation. Step beyond your physical existence. Step beyond your psychological existence. And then one will be able to clearly see this great truth, that there is no differentiation in the reality. It is, as the scriptures say, and as the sages experience, it is one without second. And universally you will see everywhere those who have done this, they have experienced it. It doesn't matter whether you are in America or whether you are in Japan, or even if you, these days they say the Mars, even if you go to Mars, you will be able to experience it, because this is a universal truth. So, friends, we shall be, with salutations to Shankaracharya. We conclude today's discussion, unless of course if there are questions we can take them up. We will meditate on this idea for about half a minute, and then if there are any questions we can take them up. Yes, please. Any questions? No questions, good. So, you have a question here, okay. Yes, Ajay?
Is Shankaracharya considered an ordinary jiva or something higher?
What, please?
Is Shankaracharya considered to be like an ordinary jiva or something higher than that?
Well, depends on what you look at. If you look at only the body, limited mind, then for you he will be a jiva. Otherwise, if you look at his knowledge, his mission, he is God incarnate. He is the God who assumed human form for the welfare of the human beings. He is God incarnate. Yeah. So, let me give you some idea about upcoming programs. Then we will have the concluding prayers to be followed by our Arati. Hey, Abhijit. You have to bring those sweets to be kept here. Yeah. In the month of May, yeah. We are yet to print the June flyer, and I hear reels, June, I did not make the flyer so far, and then how it is appearing here, then I saw it is June 2020. So, so the next Sunday, that is May 23, it is another wonderful hymn of Shankaracharya that we will take up for discussion. very illuminating hymn called Dakshina Murti hymn of Shankaracharya. Coming Sunday, that is May 23rd, we will take it for a brief discussion. Tuesday, Friday classes will go on as usual. It is 7:30 p.m. Tuesdays the topic is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. Fridays it is the stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. One announcement that you must have known, you all read newspapers, watch TV. In Rhode Island, now the restrictions are about wearing the mask and all, they are going to be removed. So we also will not mandate for those who are vaccinated. So if those who are not vaccinated, I am not talking about them. It is those who are vaccinated should need not put on mask. If they want, nobody obstructs them. That if somebody says, no, I want to put on mask, you are free to do that. But we will not mandate wearing mask from coming Monday. So, now let us conclude with the closing prayers. Anything else, Charlie? Okay. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
Renouncer of all lust and lucre, therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the nature's essence. O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Rama Krishna Deva Ki Jai. Jai Shri Sarada Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda